Hey people, hey, hey, hey people, hey, how are you? How art thou? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? All of that good stuff. How are we today? You say you thought I went to be with Betty White? Let me say, hey, Tracy. Hey, y'all. Hey, Abby, Volvo, Zap, Allen. Hey, everybody. Really B is not going live today. I know where she better be at. I know where she better be at. You let me call her later and find out she ain't where she's supposed to be. I'll find out. Anyway, what is up, y'all? Triumphant to return. We are here. What is up, y'all? We are so glad to be here. Hey, B.R. Birds. Hey, Tanya, Miss Trisha P. Everybody that is coming in. What is up? What's up, y'all? Y'all know what I even brought back? Metal straw. Got me a cute metal straw to lubricate. What's going on, everybody? Hey, Nicole Stevens. What is up, everyone? We're going to talk some politics today. We're going to start 2022 off right. You hear me? This is what we're going to be doing in 2022. We got a lot of things to talk about. A lot of things to talk about. So, a lot of things have happened since I have been working real hard, just working real hard and out of town and all kinds of stuff. But we're here, we're back. Ooh, I bought some white cranberry juice, Ocean Spray. It's so good. It looks like water, but it's cranberry juice. It's so good. Yes, we do have new spectacles. I'm glad y'all noticed the new spectacles. Tell me, what do you think? It might be better to see without the light shining on it. Hold on. Let me try and let y'all see it that way. Is that better? Can y'all see it better that way? New spectacles. Yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. But I like them. I do like them. So, all right, let's turn this light back on. I look dark. There we go. All right. You said it was better with the light? Okay. Well, thank you. If you like them, thank you. Ciao. Ciao. Let's open up a bag of chips. What are we eating? Plain Ruffles. Plain. Plain. plain, just salt and grease. All right. I'm glad you like Tracy. Tracy, I'm glad you look. You know, y'all my A1 day ones, and I'm so glad when you all are happy. So let's mm, I actually like plain ruffles. I really do. Mm. So we're gonna start off. Oh God, with some good news. You ain't missed nothing yet, Tabitha. Nothing yet. What's up, Tabitha? We're gonna start off, y'all, with good news, and then sugar levels will start spiking. How can I help be help responsible? So we're gonna start off down this road, down a good road, and then after that, Lord help us. So good news out of the state of Massachusetts. Shout out to all of those. I don't even know what they call themselves. I'll call them Massachusettsians. That's what we'll call them. I don't know. Hey, New Jones. Okay, so Rachel Rollins becomes the first Black woman to be named U.S. I mean, to be the U.S. attorney in Massachusetts. That's good. Rachel Rollins is the first Black attorney to be U.S. I mean, the first Black woman to be U.S. attorney in Massachusetts. That's the good part. However, however, so I started off good. I really did, and that was my attempt to start good. However, she's facing racist threats. Let me read this. Earlier this week, earlier this week, Rachel Rollins, the former Suffolk County District Attorney, was sworn in as the next United States Attorney for Massachusetts, becoming the first Black woman to hold that position in the state. Since then, she has faced racist and violent threats after her confirmation process was questioned by many conservative politicians, including Texas Senator Raphael Ted Cruz, according to CNN. I, listen, I don't even know why um you know he got anything to do with what Massachusetts got going on, but this is Ted Cruz we're talking about. In a story from CNN, the threats against Rollins have been reported to authorities. She has asked for protection from the U.S. Marshals Service. Rollins was nominated by President Joe Biden in July 2021 and was barely confirmed by the Senate a month ago, with Vice President Kamala Harris casting the deciding vote that put Rollins over the top. The threats started to come in shortly after that. The fact that we had to have Kamala Harris to come in to break the tie because we are so divided. The Senate right now is just so divisive right now. It's just so divisive. And so every vote at this point requires Kamala Harris to be there. I mean, she's going to be one of the few vice president that has to be there majority of the time we take votes in the Senate because that's how divided it is. So for all of you people who thought that there were some Republicans over there on the other side that had, that were forward thinking and that could think rationally, and that, because people would always tout the Mitt Romneys of the world and the Susan Murkowskis of the world, and certain other people that, oh, if given a chance, they'll vote the right way and do the right thing. We still wait. Anyway, this beautiful Black queen had to have Kamala Harris give the deciding vote to put her over the top. Okay, She started getting threats after that. The threats against Rollins have prompted calls from the Justice Department to do more to protect people of color in the federal judicial system, which has become increasingly diverse. Rollins joins the most diverse class of U.S. attorneys in the department's history. Dozens of faith leaders and community organizers penned a letter to U.S. Attorney General Merrick U.S. United States Attorney General Merrick Garland in December, including the Reverend Jeffrey Brown, associate pastor of the 12th Baptist Church in Roxbury, Massachusetts. Brown said U.S. Marshals should have provided her security as she was confirmed. Quote, "We have been through an era where others have been killed because of the stances that they were taking," Brown told CNN, adding that women of color are bearing the brunt of such violence. Quote, "I believe the threats are coming because the atmosphere feels like they can easily target women of color." End quote, which is normally the case. Women of color are an easy target because they very seldom get any media coverage when violence is directed toward them, which gives off the impression that no one cares. This is unfortunately true in mainstream America. The threatening messages have been posted in the comments of Rollins' Twitter and Instagram accounts and also includes threats emailed to her office. One of the threatening comments warned her to, quote, "hide your kids," end quote, according to CNN. Reverend Jeffrey Brown, as associate pastor of Roxbury, Massachusetts, said some of the threats aimed toward Rollins have appeared on his Twitter feed after he posted a message congratulating her for her historical accomplishment. Per the story from CNN, quote, "They were saying that she's hot-headed and insane and accused her of identity politics. But what was really disturbing was the one that went directly to her, where they would call her the N word and the B word and talking about putting a bullet in her head," end quote, Brown said. This is what we got going on. Hey, Quintessential. Hey, Diamond Pearl Jim. Drew Wade, Chief of Public Affairs from the U.S. Marshals Service, said in a statement that the agency, quote, "takes seriously its duty to protect federal judicial officials, including judges and prosecutors across the country," end quote. Wade declined to comment on Rollins's case, saying, quote, "We continuously review security measures for these officials and take appropriate actions as warranted, but for safety reasons, we do not discuss specific security protocols." Listen, this is what we got going on in these yet to be United States of America. This beautiful black queen in the form of Rachel Rollins got nominated for U.S. Attorney um, for Massachusetts by Joe Biden, barely got confirmed, okay? And now she has to bear the brunt of racist white nationalists. Urgh, the MAGA people. Urgh, people descended from the Caucasus Mountains, who are threatening not only her, but her children, telling her to hide her kids. This is what we got going on. This is what we got going on. Now, for all of the people up north that always turn their nose up at the South, this ain't the South. This is Massachusetts, the bedrock of the American institution. This is Massachusetts. People from Massachusetts and people who have lived in Massachusetts and Boston will let you know that these are some of the most racist people on the face of the planet. People tell stories about the New England area and how how entrenched racism and bigotry is in that area. But they turned their nose up at the South because the South at least was very open, overt, and told you what it was. Yep, we have our slaves, we have our slavery, we want all parts of it. But they turned their nose up like they were pious and all, holier than thou. But yet they're even worse in those areas. Go to go read some of the writings of some of our famed civil rights leaders, and they will tell you some of the worst experiences they had fighting for civil rights was in the North, was not in the South. They will tell you that. I'm just telling you. This is what we got going on in the great state of Massachusetts. Let's hope that what's going on, Jason. Let's hope that they do send U.S. Marshals because we do have to take this stuff seriously. We do. I'm not going to discuss Dr. Fauci and Rand Paul and their, skirmish that they had on the Senate floor yesterday. I mean, in the Senate committee meeting yesterday, but or the day before yesterday, whatever it was. But Dr. Fauci talked about how he remember they stopped the people, the man who hi Ayasha. Um this man who said he was going to go kill Dr. Fauci. And when they opened his trunk, he had several um assault rifles and several dozen magazines, loaded magazines, going to go kill Dr. Fauci. And he was serious about it. So you can't take these threats like they're idle threats. These people are serious. You know what I'm saying? These people are they are serious. And that seems to be an ongoing problem with the justice system. We talked about this during 9/11. The biggest failure was failure of imagination. They did not imagine this could happen. And we continue to do that. White people continue to not be able to imagine that other white people are capable of this. And I shouldn't even say that they don't imagine that they're capable of it, but I would venture to say they don't want to think that. They don't want to believe that we in America have the same type of horrible, heinous, insidious terrorists in our country as they do over there in Baghdad, over there in the stands, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and some of the other stands over there. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's the failure of imagination. And we can't even say that anymore because even if you couldn't imagine it, we've seen it now. Now you just being stupid. But let's be clear. We here in these yet to be United States of America have become the countries where we claim we're going to go free. We're no better than them. We are them. We are Afghanistan and Pakistan. Who's really running this country but terrorists? That's what we have running the country. Terrorists. But we want to go over there acting like we're fighting to deliver democracy across the globe. We ain't even got democracy here. We'll get there in a few moments. Just a mess. A damn mess. And that's my first story. First story of 2022. This is where we're going. But I was glad I was able to start with my beautiful Black queens. I love to start our first story with good news and giving you our beautiful Black queen in the form of Rachel Rollins. Let's support her. I've been doing my research while I was on break. I've been doing my research and I'm almost ready. We will start to highlight young Black. Remember, I told you last year we were starting to do some highlights of young Black politicians around the country. I've been doing my research. I got some people doing my homework, and we'll highlight some of those people as we get closer. Also, getting closer to elections, and something like that, we'll start to spotlight some races that we really need to pay attention to. Definitely want to pay attention to that race over in Kentucky because we do have a black man that's running against your boy Rand Paul. Anyway, so we had that story um of Rachel Rollins. So there's nowhere to. I'm looking to see where to go next, and there's just no good place to go. Just no good place to go. Anything I click is going to cause my sugar levels to spike. Let me go ahead, open up. What am I eating? Nerds. Y'all know I like these little nerds. They have the little nerds on the outside and the gummy stuff on the inside. So good, so good. This is what we're eating today. Hey, Krispies. Yeah. So, Urban Meyer makes our news today. Before I get to Urban Meyer, let me say one thing I do agree with in that article is not Urban Meyer, dear God. Um, there is little to no real reporting of things that happen to black women that they were spot on about. Black women are easy targets because the culprits know that they're not going to end up on mainstream media. They're not going to end up bearing the brunt of, people calling them out and people saying that this is horrible, getting hashtags and things like that in social media. Not to the same percentage and degree that their male counterparts do. So that's what makes them an easy target for people to make threats at. I guarantee you 98% of America have no idea who Rachel Rollins is. What's up, Raphael? Many of you may not have known who she was before I did this article, but I'm glad that's why we're here. We're here to bring highlight to some of these things that you may not be seeing in mainstream media. That's why we're here. All right. Urban Meyer's in on our news feed. He's on our news feed. So Urban Meyer admits Urban Meyer admitted that while at Ohio State, the Ohio State football program used pictures of Trayvon Martin to enforce their no hoodies policy. What do y'all want me to do with that? What do y'all want me to do with that? Now, this all came out because former Ohio State defensive back, hey Spicy Original, Marcus Williamson put out several tweets and put Ohio State on blast. Let me read this article. I'm pulling this. I got this article from The Root. Love The Root. So here's what TheRoot.com had to say about it. While dress codes at the workplace are fairly common, during Urban Meyer's tenure as head coach of the Ohio State football program, The team took the rather unusual and extremely offensive step of using pictures of Trayvon Martin to enforce the school's no hoodies policy. The accusation came to light over the weekend when former Ohio State defensive back Marcus Williamson took to Twitter to blast the program with a myriad of shocking allegations and accused the school of maliciously harming black students. Quote, how much control do these institutions have over our young black boys? End quote, he tweeted. He went on to tweet, my first team meeting, true story, 2017. This picture of Trayvon Martin was presented to us via PowerPoint to institute our building wide rule of no hoods in the building. End quote. A mess. A goddamn mess. And it's the picture of, and it is this picture of Trayvon Martin. We've seen it before. That picture right there. That one. That one. All right. But as is his modus operandi, Meyer, who left Ohio State in 2018, only to go on to become the biggest coaching disaster in NFL history, insisted to journalist Jeff Snook on Sunday that the incident, quote, never happened, end quote. Kind of like how he denies anything ever happens under his watch. Because remember, remember the allegations came out that he went when he was fired from the Jaguars recently. Remember, he went and kicked the kicker in the leg that he kicks in. That's what we're doing, right? And it wasn't a playful kick. It was a real kick. Like in anger. A mess. Anyway. Quote, our team rules. I'm sorry. Here's what Urban Meyer said. Quote, our team rules was no hats or hoodies or sunglasses of any kind, but only in team meetings, just so we could see their eyes and make sure they were paying attention and not asleep, Meyer told Snook. We did not and never would show a picture of Trayvon Martin. My gosh, no. That is absolutely false. And you can check with any other player on my teams during that time to confirm what I am saying. Other players know what Williamson is saying is false. I would never do that. He is crossing the line here. It seems people are just piling on now, but that never happened. That's what his mouth said. Unfortunately for Urban Meyer, the Columbus Dispatch confirmed on Tuesday that that's exactly what happened. Columbus Dispatch columnist Rob Aller confirmed Tuesday that while Urban Meyer was the coach of Ohio State football team, a staffer used a photo of Trayvon Martin to amplify a team's rule that said players couldn't wear hoodies in the football building. In response to this confirmation, Urban Meyer denied any wrongdoing and insisted that not only was he not present when this incident occurred, but that he's being falsely accused of condoning racism, as if he didn't hire Chris Doyle as Jacksonville's director of sports performance, despite the fact that Doyle was fired from his team gig for being both racist. Well, this is what Root said. According, this is the Root saying this, for being both a racist piece of shit and abusive towards student athletes. There was a whole thing. You can go look up Chris Doyle and all of the racist things that he did when he was at Ohio State, and Urban Meyer hired him for his Jacksonville team, and all of the stuff came out, and he ended up having to fire him. A mess. A mess. Anyway, Urban Meyer went on to say, I didn't know about it until 1 hour ago, until after talking to former Buckeyes safety Tyvis Powell. Urban Meyer said Tuesday. I wasn't there in the meeting. None of the coaches were present. It was a support staffer who was in error and apologized. Now, wait a minute. Wait, let me continue. He goes on to say, my biggest thing is you use the R word, racism, and it doesn't matter if it's true or not. People run with it. Now, we all know college football coaches are some of the biggest, hey, Doris, control freaks known to man. They want to control everything. Nothing happens in that building without a college football head coach knowing and endorsing it and probably spelling out to the letter how they want it to happen. That's how much of a control freak they are. Trust me, I know. A mess. Now, this young man wants no parts of any types of accountability at all. But he continues to get hired over and over and over. I'm sure he'll be on someone's television screen as a commentator, probably in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, if he isn't already somewhere commentating. Or is it going to be on somebody's coaching staff? Everywhere he goes, there's always drama. It's always a train wreck. When he was at UF, we ain't gonna even go down that road. You got the Pouncey twins, you got Aaron Hernandez, and a whole bunch of other fuckery that was going on at that time. We got the shit show that was Ohio State football team. You have the debacle that we had this year in Jacksonville, this football season in Jacksonville. But he never wants any accountability. Right. Pinky Tiki, you noticed that he called it the R word because that word racism now, they want to equate that to the N word now because white people want so bad to feel like people are picking on them. They want so bad to feel like they're being picked on. So now that, racism is now the R word. Racism is the R word. Hey, So Jeff, a mess. Uh, Diamond Pearl Jim, these people get continuously promoted, continuously get new checks and forms of income. Just a mess. Just a mess. A mess. Anyway, that is Urban Meyer. Call him if you need him. Let's listen. You heard it from Urban Meyer first, but I'm sure he won't be the last. Look for white people to be calling the word racism the R word now because the R word is going to now become a white epithet. Okay. Just like the N word is a racial, is a black, is an epithet and you shouldn't use it or that word should never be used. The N word or the F bomb in the LGBTQIA plus community, the F word. Now white people and white supremacists are now going to have their own epithet in the form of the word racism because they're not, oh no, don't use the R word. A mess. A goddamn mess. Anyway, hold on, y'all. Hey, friend, I don't even think I said hey to you. That was for all my sports junkies like me that needed their sports fix. I give you Urban Meyer. I give him to you. Hmm. Now, here's some news. You know, we got to get some national attention over here to down to the politics of it all because we be calling stuff out before it actually happens. We report the stories way in advance. You hear it here first, and then after you hear it here first, then the people in the mainstream media and all of that stuff start to come out and say the same thing. So, United States authorities have arrested a suspect in the assassination of Haitian President um, um, Jovenel Moise. I told y'all last summer when this all came out that they were going to do everything they could to put this on someone to get eyes off of the United States government who have been members of the United States government have already been confirmed to have been there at the assassination, to have been there at the president's mansion or whatnot where Jovenel Moise lived. That has already been confirmed. And now to deflect and throw eyes off of their own part in this, the United States government went out of their way to make sure they could find a scapegoat. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Um, let me read. I got this one from The Hill. United States Department of Homeland Security agents have arrested a suspect in the assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moise at his private residence last July. Former member of the Colombia military Mario Antonio Palacios was taken into custody by authorities in Miami, Florida on Tuesday. Palacios, who also goes by Floro, was suspected of being part of a mercenary group that planned and executed the attack. The Guardian reports that Palacios previously admitted to being in the president's bedroom during the assault in media interviews. He has been in hiding and denied any involvement in the assault that also wounded Moise's wife, Martine. Back in October, Palacios was detained in Jamaica for entering the country illegally, according to The Guardian. Rather than sending him back to Haiti, Jamaica ordered him to be deported to Colombia. U.S. agents intercepted the travel and arrested him. The 43-year-old is charged with, quote, conspiracy to commit murder or kidnapping outside the United States and providing material support resulting in death, knowing or intending that such material support would be used to prepare for or carry out the conspiracy to kill or kidnap. If convicted, Palacios faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. The Justice Department's National Security Division is working with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Florida and the FBI's Miami Field Office on the case. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Andrea Goldberg and Walter Norkin are working with the National Security Division to prosecute the case. It goes on and on and on. Here's my problem. Here's my problem. Here is my continued problem. This is a murder. that happened on Haitian soil, not U.S. soil, Haitian soil, right? If there is no U.S. involvement in this, where's the jurisdiction? This is a whole nother sovereign country, a whole nother sovereign nation and country. And y'all over here intercepting extraditions and all kinds of things and got the U.S. Attorney's Office and FBI involved. If this ain't have nothing to do with y'all, America, and if y'all were not involved in this, why are you in this? If anything, when you found out he was in Miami, you should have said, oh, bruh, you in the wrong place. Let us carry you back over there. I told y'all from the beginning, something went right. I told y'all that. I said this from the beginning. Connect the dots. Make it make sense. Hey, Nikki Pooh, why are we, you know why we're there? Because I told you, it has already been confirmed that witnesses said that there were members of the American government that were there. Whatever, however, there were Americans that were there, that were officials. Now, y'all help me make sense of this. Why do we care? Y'all got all of these different agencies in the Justice Department and then, in American criminal justice system involved for what? This isn't our country. That is Haiti, a sovereign country, a country who has been a sovereign nation since what, 1804? But y'all over here worried about that. Y'all got all the money in the world to pay for all of these different things. Y'all can make sure y'all get all of that happen, but y'all want no parts of arresting and really doing things to members of your own country who tried to overthrow your own government and kill your own vice president on American soil in the freaking Capitol building. Y'all don't got no smoke for those people. I miss the metal straw. This is what y'all got going. Y'all help me make it make sense. Right, friend. Y'all got all this smoke to try and figure out who killed the president, but y'all don't want to help dying Haitians trying to do right by their family and children. Y'all don't want no smoke for helping them. Y'all don't want no smoke for helping the Haitian refugees that are just trying to live their lives and do right by their children and families and themselves. But y'all got all this money and energy over here. This is what we got going on. Like my granddad used to say, These people major on the minor and minor on the major. You major on the minor and minor on the major. This is what y'all got going on. A mess. A goddamn mess. There is smoke and mirrors, y'all. It's smoke and mirrors. It's smoke and mirrors because they're trying to deflect. They're trying to keep all of the talk off of why the fuck were y'all there at the time of this assassination. Y'all know America has a long history. Go check a real history book. Go check some real research and writings from American history. America has had a problem with the country of Haiti since Haiti was the first black nation in the Western Hemisphere. They were the first group of slaves to free themselves in the Western Hemisphere and say, we're not here for this fuck shit. Matter of fact, we're going to have our own country, which is why they got all this to do with Haiti, but right next door to Haiti, where you have a whole dictatorship, a whole country in the freaking Dominican Republic that ain't been right for hundreds of years, that have butchered and slaughtered their own people for hundreds of years, and America has not batted an eye. Ain't bat an eye. Ain't thought twice about it. Right next door, same island. Dem- Go do your research on Dominican Republic and what they've done over there, right next door. But America ain't got no smoke for them. But the Haitians do anything, and we got all this going on. Trying to tell you what I know. This what y'all. I've missed y'all so much. I've missed y'all. Have y'all missed me? I've missed y'all. Y'all know how we are, the politics of it all. I've missed y'all so much. I've missed y'all. That's why we have the politics of it all. So we can talk real truth and facts up in this place. So Jeff, did you have some soup jumeau on my birthday? Did you have some soup jumeau on my birthday? So Jeff, I'm just asking. Anyway, let me get to this case before I go to Washington D.C. and spend some time over in the District of Columbia. Let me tackle this case because I got to think about my young people. Okay, so over in the great state of Texas, governed by Governor Hot Wheels God. Lord. See, that's how I know So Jeff is a real Haitian. Tabitha know what I'm talking about because she from Miami, so she grew up around a lot of Haitians and stuff like that. You know, Haitian people, they do not have January 1st, which is Haitian Independence Day, without having some soup jumeau. That's why I asked him if he had it. That January 1st is Haitian Independence Day. They celebrate their independence, 1804, and they make soup, what's called soup jumeau, and it's a soup that they make in their culture to celebrate Haitian independence. It Every household makes it different. It kind of has the same kind of ingredients, but everybody kind of makes it different. Every family kind of makes it different, but it's still the same. So yeah, that's what it is. But so that's why I had to ask him that. But yeah, Tabitha from Miami, like I am, so she know all about it. Anyway, um, so over in the great state of Texas, governed by Governor Hot Wheels, it is delicious. I love me some soup jumeau. We've had over the last few years or so a concerted attack on people of color, meaning Black people and Latinx people, as well as an attack on the LGBTQIA over there in the great state of Texas. Um, I think Beto O'Rourke is running against Governor Hot Wheels in the great state of Texas. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, so we got a story where we have some some teens, some LGBTQIA teens at a Texas school that are having some real issues, and just now it's reaching a fevered pitch statewide, and we got some real concerns and problems for our LGBTQIA teens down in the great state of Texas. Let me read this article. I got it from one of my favorite websites, one of my favorite progressive websites, commondreams.org. You have never been to commondreams.org. Great website. If you're a progressive like I am, if you love progressive politics, they um they do some great reporting over there, okay? So read this article for you. Came out yesterday. It says during the last legislative session, Texas lawmakers introduced 75 pieces of anti-LGBTQIA legislation, including more than 40 bills specifically targeting transgender and non-binary youth, more than any other state in the United States. Queer teens at one school say they're approaching a crisis point after a recent onslaught of state legislation and school board actions targeting LGBTQ youth. For 17-year-old Kayla, her name has been changed to protect her identity. Coming out is a matter of survival, but faced with the possibility of being kicked out of her home, denied relevant mental health resources at her school, and under mounting anti-LGBTQ policies in Texas, Kayla has decided to keep quiet about her queer identity, leading to occasional suicide ideations. Quote, there was no one that I could really talk to during this period. I didn't want to become a burden to other people, so just having to sit with those thoughts was definitely not healthy for me. I definitely no longer wanted to live on this earth, Kayla said. Crisis calls from Texas teens to the Trevor Project, a suicide prevention organization for LGBTQ youth adolescents, have shot up by more than 150% in the last year, the organization said. I'm going to read that again for the people in the back. Crisis calls from Texas teens to the Trevor Project, a suicide prevention organization for LGBTQ adolescents, have shot up by more than 150% in the past year, the organization says. That is alarming. That is alarming. While the spike cannot be attributed to one specific cause, the culture wars against queer youths in Texas have escalated. In one recent example, a high school senior in a suburb of Houston faced off against parents over internet access to LGBTQ resources and literature. Cameron Samuels, a classmate of Kayla's at the Seven Lakes High School, appeared at a school board meeting last month to ask the Texas School District to remove an internet filter on LGBTQ mental health resources, but he was drowned out by parents' calls to remove books with LGBTQ content and their demand to enforce Texas State Representative Matt Krause's call to remove 850 titles pertaining to race and sexuality. We went through that last year on the Teacher Project 2.0. Go check out Teacher Project 2.0, shameless plug. We went through that list, and Matt Krause's 150, and we put the link in the description. Cameron Samuels, an 18-year-old senior, and other students have collected 1,000 student signatures in a petition calling on the Katy Independent School District to remove an internet firewall that blocks LGBTQ resources, including suicide prevention resources, and to expand the district's anti-discrimination and anti-bullying policies to include LGBTQ students. Let me say that again. Their anti-discrimination and anti-bullying policies do not include their LGBTQ students. That's what we got going. Quote, it's a matter of life and death, Cameron said at the December school board meeting, which was streamed on the Katy School Board website. According to its 2021 National Survey on LGBTQ youth mental health, the Trevor Project reported that LGBTQ youth are 4 times more likely to consider or attempt suicide than their straight peers. 42% of respondents considered attempting suicide last year, while 94% reported that recent politics have negatively affected their mental health. Nicholas Turton, communications manager for the organization, reported that more than 14,500 of the 201,000 crisis calls received in 2021 alone were from LGBTQ teens from the state of Texas. The Trevor Project noted transgender and non-binary youth in Texas have directly stated that they are stressed, using self-harm, and considering suicide due to anti-LGBTQ laws being debated in their state. During the last legislative session, Texas lawmakers introduced, and I read that where they introduced all of the bills and so forth. I'm going to go through these. I'm not going to read the whole article. Um, um, Jeff put the article in the chat. Put it again for me, Jeff. But I'm going to read this little timeline. On August 31st, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services removed information for a suicide prevention hotline and legal services for LGBTQ youth from its website. On September 1st, Texas House Bill 25, which prohibits transgender youths from participating in school sports teams that align with their gender identity, went into effect along with HB 3979, which restricts how race is taught in schools. October 25th, State Representative Matt Krause launched an investigation to call for the inquiry and removal of 850 book titles with LGBTQ and anti-racism content. This effort has since spread to public libraries in Texas. So now not only is it public schools in Texas, it's public libraries in Texas. People think that it's just that they don't have a whole plan here. So now that Matt Krause situation where he got these books and titles, and it's not just LGBTQI, it's women's rights, books on women's issues, it's books on Black and Hispanic issues. We went through a lot of titles on that list. And it's not just the public schools now, it's in public libraries. You could be going to do some research of your own, not even in school. And now, let me continue on. November 10th, Governor Hot Wheels, Governor Abbott orders the Texas Education Agency to target schools which provide students with materials with, quote, pornography, citing books with LGBTQ content, because anything with LGBTQ content is pornography. A mess. November 19th, the Texas State Board of Education rejected calls to include information on anti-LGBTQ bullying, sexual orientation, and gender identity in their health education curriculum. The state's efforts to curtail access to LGBTQ resources have inspired local school board politics. While parents at the recent Katy Independent School District's board meeting cited explicit sexual content from sexual books as cause to enforce Representative Krause's book probe, LGBTQ students say their cause to be protected under anti-discrimination and anti-bullying policies to be represented in the curriculum and to access mental health resources are being sexualized. Late last year, Katie ISD recently changed the internet filter blocking LGBTQ mental health resources from, quote, alternative sexual lifestyle to human sexuality. I can go on and on and on. The whole point that I'm making is this is an attack on our children now. It's bad enough that we have adults who are supposed to be able to cognitively reason that are having difficulty with mental health and with coming out and with all that goes with the process of just living and being who they are. Adults have issues with this. And so now we have all out assault on children now. And we aren't even, the school is no longer a safe place. Now you are not even allowed to provide students with resources to help with their mental health. You don't even include them in anti-discrimination and anti-bullying protocols and policies, meaning that if there's an assault on a child because of who they are, those cries from that child can go unheard or could be ignored. These are children. Children. This is being condoned in these yet to be United States of America. We're not all. Because, see, we want to be, you know, city on a hill. We want to be pious and holier than thou and the beacon of light and, the exemplar for all countries across the globe. But in these yet to be United States of America, we cannot even protect our children. What the fuck do we have going on? Listen, I can't even begin to explain the mental duress. That's the best that I can, that's the best way I can put it. The mental duress and anguish that a teenager, that an adolescent faces who may be a member of the LGBTQ community, the mental duress that you go through just to wake up, look yourself in the mirror and decide I'm going to school today. That alone takes, unmatched mental acrobatics. And to then know that there, you, we told y'all Make America Great Again was trying to take you back to 17s and 1800s. And the thing about it is, this is where we got to really have a conversation. See, everybody has the NIMBY syndrome, the anthropomorphic complex, where as long as it doesn't involve them, they're not concerned. The not in my backyard, it ain't my problem syndrome. And see, the problem was some of the very same LGBTQ people who supported some Republicans and racist ass Donald Trump and their shenanigans when they were doing things like Make America Great Again, and they had all that to say about black people because it was okay if it was the blacks, if it's the blacks. long as they ain't bothering us, I'm okay. When there was a assault on the Colin Kaepernicks of the world and assaults on everything that talked about criminal justice and everything that was going on with black people. It was okay. And they didn't have a problem. But now it's crept into the Rainbow Coalition's backyard. And some of the members of the Rainbow Coalition sat back and said nothing. Now it's in our backyard now. Because remember, we have black children getting killed. We just talked about Trayvon Martin. Our own black kids have been getting killed from the annals of time. And see, if you don't learn history, you're bound to repeat history. We learned that's the old adage. And unfortunately, the Rainbow Coalition didn't learn from some of the things that black people went through. See, black people went through periods where we were castigated, we fought for our rights, we got a couple, a little bit of, money, a little bit of, rights or whatever. And we had this time period during, I would say, late 80s through the 90s where there was this pie in the sky, where there was this, oh, everything's nice, America has gotten past racism. And then we had to be reminded real fast that America hadn't gotten past racism. And I would say the same thing happened, probably in a much shorter time period, for the Rainbow Coalition. We had dark days where, there were horrible, heinous things happening to the community. And then we got more rights and, things started to get better and so forth and so on. And then they started to smell the sauce and thinking that everything was good until now we have to be reminded it ain't so good. This whole situation going on in the great state of Texas. Texas, listen, if Governor Hot Wheels could right now, he would secede from the yet to be United States of America, form his own nation of Texas, and be a dictator. I told y'all 2 years ago, 2+ years ago at this point on this channel, if you are still in the great state of Texas and aren't searching for an exit strategy, you might have your own mental issue. There's no way this is a country where you can go and move and pick up your roots and say, nope, that's it, I'm going, and go somewhere else. Because the last thing you want is not to be able to just live your life as a capable human being. Texas has been showing y'all over and over and over, we don't want no parts of you people that are not, if you are not white, if you are not a white male, we don't want no parts of y'all. Because white women, they after y'all too. Hispanic and Latinx, they after y'all too. Just like they after black people, just like they after the Rainbow Coalition. And they are doing everything in their power to let y'all know. And y'all just stay there and be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to sit here and it's just going to get better. It's not. Because you waiting for the feds to do something. Joe Biden done showed you he ain't doing nothing. He's letting Governor Hot Wheels and he's letting Ron DeSantis do whatever they want. Blow off all the steam they want. Shoot their whole load. They don't care. And Ron DeSantis ain't did nearly the amount of things that Governor Hot Wheels done did and put in place. Governor Hot Wheels is running roughshod through Texas like, I got this. Y'all better see the writings on the wall. See the writings on the wall. Couldn't be me. I don't want no parts. Nope. Nope. Can't do it. Won't do it. My heart goes out to something has to be done out there. I don't know if the parents of these students are not, and these teens aren't out here fighting for their own children, I don't know how much can be done. If you have parents that sit there and allow these things to happen to their own children, I mean, right, Tracy. I mean, he hates everybody who has functional limbs. You know, and you have functional lower extremities. He wants no parts of you. He wants no parts of you at all. But you got kids out here having to fight for the and fend for themselves all over the state of Texas. And it's sad. It really is sad. The assault on children. This is an assault on children from people in positions of power. Removing access to mental health, removing, protocols and policies that protect from anti-discrimination and anti-bullying for children. That's what y'all got going on. It's what y'all voted for in the great state of Texas. A mess. A mess. Moving on from one point in the holy trinity of racism and bigotry. You know, the trinity being Texas, Florida, North Carolina. Lord. The Bermuda Triangle. Let's call that the Bermuda Triangle because generally all the states in between there is riddled and mired in fuckery. So you got that whole Bermuda Triangle, Texas, North Carolina, Florida. God. Moving on from there. Anyway, let's talk about our resident fucktard, Joe Manchin. I had to take a moment. Let me eat some more of my ruffles to prepare to talk about our resident fucktard. Let's be clear. Before, if y'all remember, we were on the politics of it all. I told y'all way back before Joe Biden ever got inaugurated. I told y'all Joe Manchin was going to be the most powerful person in Washington, D.C. Did we not say that here? We did. So, this young man had a whole tirade, okay? Had a whole tirade about how he couldn't vote for Build Back Better. And one of his tirades went on and on and on, talking about how it would spike up inflation, and we have a whole inflation problem, and that's why he can't feel good about voting for Build Back Better, right? Let me read this for y'all. So this article goes on to say, to justify obstructing one of his party's top legislative priorities, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia has repeatedly claimed that the Build Back Better Act would exacerbate rising inflation. One of the key reasons why he's saying he won't vote for it, right? But wait, oh God. But a new report published Wednesday by the Congressional Joint Economic Committee argues that the Democrats' 10-year $1.75 trillion reconciliation package would actually relieve inflationary pressures on the economy by slashing the sky high cost of childcare, prescription drugs, housing, and other basic necessities. But we told y'all it had nothing to do with this. We knew that. I'm guaranteeing you, he knew that. Let's continue on. The report goes on to say, by addressing the threat of climate change, the bill would reduce the role of fossil fuel price spikes and extreme weather in driving future inflation, insulating the economy from key sources of price spikes that can lead to inflation, just as occurred in 2021. I'm telling you, Tracy, he must have eaten lead paint as a child. But I'm trying to make it make sense, dear God. The report goes on to argue that because of its cost, because its cost would be funded by tax hikes on rich individuals and large businesses, the Build Back Better Act does not present the risk of economic overheating, a concern that was waved aside as previous administrations passed trillions of dollars in tax cuts that were never paid for. The JEC released in its analysis, just as the Bureau of Labor Statistics announced Wednesday, that the Consumer Price Index, which measures the cost of consumer goods and services, has risen 7% over the past year, the sharpest increase in 4 decades. Very, very troubling, Joe Manchin said of the new inflation figures. I, I don't even need to read no more. I don't need to read no more of this article. I gave you the part that matters. There is no reason that he's giving, I should say, that Joe Manchin voted no, aside from the fact that the people lining your pocket with millions of dollars don't want pieces of that legislation. So because the people lining your pockets with millions of dollars as you live on your yacht. Okay, remember this young man does live in a yacht and drives his Maserati around if you need him. The same man who gave government contracts and subsidies to companies, excuse me, that he is on the board for, that he profits from. Amalgamations, anyone? Let's be clear. Joe Manchin is clearly and unequivocally one of the demons ascended from the eighth level of hell. not the ninth level of hell. We reserve the ninth level of hell for the Raphael Cruzes of the world, the Josh Howleys of the world, and some of the other insidious people, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, the Gossers of the world, the Matt Gateses of the world, the Donald Trumpses of the world. Those people are on the ninth level of hell. But this Satan spawn is ascended from the eighth level of hell. And let's be clear, he wants no parts, any parts of Bill Beck. And hey, Peaches, I can't even blame him because we knew this is what he would do. I blame Chuck Schumer. I blame Nancy Pelosi. And I blame all of those other establishment Dems that sat around and fell for the, oh, we got to get a win. We got to get a win. We got to get a win sauce, and gave the infrastructure bill to Joe Manchin without getting a Build Back Better bill at the same time. Shouts out to the squad who told y'all it was all or nothing, and you stupid ass people went for it. And now, the fact that we're even entertaining these reasons and arguments that this silly ass fucktard is giving us is laughable. Why are we even entertaining? Why is anybody even listening to the reasons that? Why is he even being invited to the White House to negotiate Joe Biden? Why are you negotiating? He's a whole terrorist. He's holding the country hostage. He's a terrorist. He's a terrorist. And you over here having terrorists get a seat at the table and trying to negotiate with terrorists. A mess. I'm gonna read this last. Not it's not the last paragraph, but a paragraph from this. Now, well, I do want to read parts of this article. It's so laughable. You just gotta laugh at this, okay? You just gotta laugh at some of the stuff in this. One part of this, I'm gonna try to read without having my whole fucking head explode and lose my whole goddamn mind. Let me read this, okay? Quote, there's also no good way to connect the dots between the Build Back Better agenda, which is currently being debated in Congress, and higher inflation. Mark Zandi, the chief economist at Moody's Analytics, wrote in a recent CNN op-ed. The legislation provides support for public infrastructure and various social programs, and longer term, it is designed to lift the economy's growth potential, which will ease inflationary pressures, end quote. Despite its potential benefits for families, the economy, and the climate, the Build Back Better Act continues to languish in the Senate with no clear path forward as Manchin refuses to drop his objections to the expanded child tax credit, affordable housing investments, and other key provisions of the bill. And as the Washington Post reported over the weekend, Joe Manchin no longer even supports his own counteroffer to the White House, which included child tax credits and other measures. This is why you don't negotiate with terrorists and give them a fucking seat at the table. Because the same shit that when we told you we want this and you said, no, I don't like that. How about you do this? And when we tell you, okay, we're going to do this, then you say, no, I don't even support that no more. But here's the part where I'm going to lose my whole fucking mind. Here's the part where I'm about to lose my fucking mind. Let me read this part and try not to have my whole goddamn head explode. Nevertheless, Representative Pramila Jayapal, the chair of the Progressive Caucus, said in a Wednesday appearance on CNBC that she believes Democrats will ultimately be able to pass some compromised version of the Build Back Better Act in the coming weeks. Really, Pramila Jayapal? How is she head of the Progressive Caucus? I ask again. A mess. In other news, yesterday, I'm sick of her too. Jeff, I'm so sick of her. I'm so sick of her. Listen, yesterday, your boy, he ain't my boy no more. He's your boy. He's y'all boy. Mm, 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 y'all boy. Y'all boy. Joe Biden. Y'all boy Joe Biden went and grandstanded yesterday, calling out names of figures and saying that if you don't pass voting rights, then who do you want to be? Jefferson Davis or Abraham Lincoln? And who do you want to be? George Wallace or Martin Luther King? Really? That's what we're doing, Joe Biden? Really? This is why several several organizations, black organizations, wanted no parts of that speech yesterday. They said, we're not going there. We're not here for it. We ain't trying to hear it. But it's all just talk. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a talking point. All you're going to do is talk, 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 talk. You ain't finna do nothing. You ain't about that life. You ain't about that life. You done got punched in the mouth several times, Joe Biden, and ain't did shit. Joe Biden, until we have substantive, real things happen, real legislation, real things happen, you can talk in the wind. All of that shit you talking is dust in the wind. Dust in the wind. We want no parts of it. Save it, honey. Talk to us when you signing a bill. That's when you can have this conversation. All your talking you can do when you asking somebody to give you pens to sign the bill. But if they ain't giving you no pen to sign the bill, save all that talk, boo. All this talking ain't getting us nowhere. Nowhere. Believe it or not, I was almost in agreement with Mitch McConnell when Mitch McConnell said he looked like he was unhinged and just was ranting. Because what are you talking about, Joe Biden? You ain't for real. You ain't serious about this. You a Johnny come lately now because the calendar has rolled over to 2022. You know full and fucking well that us black people, or as y'all like to call us, the blacks, don't want no parts of y'all. The blacks don't want no parts of y'all. And y'all finna get dish ragged and mollywopped in the goddamn midterms. And y'all know the blacks have been your savior the last few election cycles, and we're not here for it anymore, okay? We ain't here for it no more. We're not falling for the fuck shit no more. Mm-mm. Nope. Holler at us when you signing a bill. All that talking, mm-mm, 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 nope, mm-mm, nope. So I ain't I ain't gonna even go into detail. Right, 33%. We don't want Joe. We want no parts of you. Okay, none. You over here playing with people that don't like to play nicely. But we'll see. Here's where our concern needs to be, ladies and gentlemen. Our concern in terms of voting should be in the statewide and local elections. Because the feds have already shown us on a federal level, when given the opportunity, they ain't doing a goddamn thing. They ain't doing a goddamn thing. So now our job is to shore up these state houses, these state senates, and these state governors. That's where the fight is now. The fight ain't in Washington, D.C. That's not where the fight is. The fight is not in Washington, D.C. The fight is in your local elections and your state elections. That's where our fight is. Period. That is where our fight should be. And that's why those black organizations, excuse me, yesterday said, we don't want no parts of this. We don't want to hear this shit you talk. Listen, cue up that song from Crime Mob's first album that said, and I quote, "Fuck that shit that you talking. Fuck that shit that you talking." Great song. Love that song. Cue up Crime Mob. Fuck that shit that you talking. Fuck that shit that you talking. I'm just saying. So I saw you talk. You asked me about your mayor. I think that was you was asking me about Jeff. I got some more. I'm probably gonna do another politics of it all this weekend, maybe on Sunday or something like that. Um, so we'll do some there. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I got some stuff to get to. So I'm back. I'm back. Um, I think we have City Saturday on. I was out of town on Saturday, so I couldn't do City Saturday. But we should have it this Saturday, so we should be good. Look at you, so Jeff. You silly. Anyway, I'm glad we're back better than ever, doing what we do. The politics of it all. This is what we do over here. Um, we got to do something out there in Texas, y'all. We got to do something out there in Texas because we can't have this happening to our children. These are our children. We can't do this to our children. Can't have this happen to our children. We got to protect our children. Something got to be done out there in Texas. Something got to give. So, anyway, y'all put some strong in the chat. We about to get up out here. About to get up out here. I got a lot of television to watch. Um, so gotta catch up on some stuff. I missed all the shows yesterday, so I gotta catch up on that stuff. Anyway, let me think. What's today? Monday? Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. No. What's today? Wednesday? I don't forgot days of the week. Hey, Nicole Stevens, where you been? You just getting up in here? Um, anyway, put some shondos in the chat. Um, well, thank you, Tabitha. Tabitha, no, I hit her up behind the scenes. You know, I hit her up behind the scenes. So anyway, as I always say when I get out of here, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for being vocal, present, and active. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for any and all contributions that you make to the channel. They are much obliged. They're much appreciated. Y'all know we are here for it all. We plan to do some big things in 2022 in our politics of it all, and perhaps talk to some people. I want to get some good interviews out here for y'all. Okay. Um, Hey, Bryson M. Jenkins. So I want to get some good interviews and stuff out here for y'all on the politics of it all as we begin to dissect some of these things. Really want to focus on some of these local elections and statewide elections that we really need to kind to help us out more tangibly because the feds aren't helping us tangibly, as you can see. Ain't nothing going on over there. So we need real tangible outcomes and things that can really touch our lives. So we got to focus on a lot of these. I'm going to be looking for, y'all know I like to spotlight certain bills and certain laws that are, sweeping the country and things like that. So we'll focus on those things as well. A lot of things to look forward to. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.